So what's worse than Tim Levin writing a mediocre Alien book? Letting James A. Moore write a book by himself. This is Alien Sea of Sorrows, and this is maybe the worst thing I've ever read by James A. Moore. James A. Moore wrote that boring prequel to The Predator called Hunters and Hunted, but he also co-wrote Stalking Shadows, which was a pretty solid Predator book that came out earlier this year. But Alien Sea of Sorrows is the definition of stupid and coincidental tying things in. Sea of Sorrows refers to the same planet from Alien Out of the Shadows many years later, where it's being terraformed and mined. And our protagonist is running that program when he stumbles into the nest from Out of the Shadows. And he ends up injuring himself and getting a psychic connection with the xenomorphs. What? Not to mention, the company finds out, Weyland-Yutani, and they force him to go back there, and they blackmail him, and they kidnap him, and he has to go into the nest with a bunch of mercenaries to capture a live xenomorph, or a couple, for company purposes. Oh, did I mention he is the ancestor of Ripley? Yeah, apparently either there's another Ripley that's related to Ellen and Amanda, or the company lied about Amanda not having any children to Ripley in the director's cut of Aliens. You know, the cut that's easier to find in the theatrical version at this point? Yeah. Doesn't make any sense at all. It is just an awful, awful book. Like with Out of the Shadows, most of these characters are incredibly forgettable, but this time they're jerks on top of being forgettable, and it just leads to a miserable reading experience. What do I give Sea of Sorrows? I give it a 0.8 out of 5. It's horrendous, but the hardcore Alien fan may be able to get something out of it. Especially if you're trying to read in chronological order. Well, not even chronological order necessarily. In release order, and you're like, I need to read Sea of Sorrows, then go ahead. You're not going to get anything out of it, though. It's just a pile of trash. Join me next time as we excavate more garbage.